The most common advice on fat loss is to eat less and move more. But if you've clicked on this video today, then you probably know that that doesn't actually work. Is there something wrong with you if you cannot restrict yourself and succeed with a diet? No, there is nothing wrong with you, and that is because research now shows that caloric restriction generates an overall lower metabolic rate, and your body will match the gradual decline in energy expenditure to match your intake. This is what is now known as metabolic adaptation. In my earlier stages of weight loss, I remember I was so focused on caloric restriction that I would eat these 1200 calorie diets. It was almost a competition with myself to see how little can I eat today. And then I would do all this crazy cardio, getting on the treadmill and the elliptical. I tried to train myself to do more and more. I would start with 30 minutes and eventually I would be on that thing for an hour, and it never worked. Now, I don't know if you've ever been on a cardio machine for 45 minutes before, but you just die on the inside while that clock is ticking down, and you're basically just staring at that timer, wishing that it would go faster the entire time. And then I remember getting on the scale every week and the scale would just not move. It was truly the most frustrating experience. In today's video, I want to give you my best tips on how you can boost your metabolism and burn fat from a place of abundance rather than a place of restriction. If you're new here, hi, my name is Alice and I am a holistic weight loss coach. My husband and I have lost 90 pounds ourselves on our own weight loss journey. And on this channel, we use our management consulting background as well as our real life experience to help people lose weight and improve their lives. So if you're new here, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. So let's start off by understanding our metabolism a little bit further. And let's look into what actually comprises of the human energy expenditure. There are several components. The first is your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. The second is the thermic effect of food, which is the amount of energy that it takes for your body to digest and absorb the food that you eat. Number 3 is spontaneous physical activity, also known as non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And number 4 is physical activity. So let's get into increasing your BMR. The first tip that I have for you is to increase your muscle mass with strength training. Strength training is also very transcendent, and focusing on getting stronger and feeling better about being stronger is much more motivating than thinking about restricting your foods. Now, this does not mean that you have to go to the gym and use the machines or the equipment there. You can definitely just do workouts at home, and if you don't have dumbbells at home, you can always start with body weight exercises. Full body workouts are incredibly effective and time efficient. Lifting weights is also far more enjoyable than any form of cardio. Again, the problem with caloric reduction is that your body adjusts to burn less to match your intake. So instead of focusing on caloric reduction, building lean muscle mass is what will help increase your metabolism. And overall, it is much more enjoyable than having to think about doing cardio to lose weight. The next tip is thinking about how you can increase your NEAT. So non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, increasing your NEAT will increase your metabolic rate. The best way to increase your NEAT is to get in your steps. I always recommend my clients at least 5,000 steps a day. That's a great goal. 10,000 steps is the gold standard, I would say. But even doing something like using a standing desk or an under desk treadmill can be great for increasing your NEAT. Technically, NEAT is defined by energy that we use for anything that is not eating or sleeping or active physical exercise. So even sitting at your desk and fidgeting and moving your feet around is considered to be NEAT. People with higher NEAT levels are often more successful at losing weight and maintaining weight loss. Next is to increase the thermic effect of food by focusing on protein-rich foods. And protein specifically has the highest thermic effect of all of the macronutrients. So consuming protein-rich foods such as eggs, meat, fish, and dairy products can help you increase your metabolic rate and burn more calories. I recommend prioritizing grass-fed animal-based proteins if it's available to you, particularly beef, which is high in B vitamins and iron. Now, one mistake that you want to avoid with protein consumption is processed meats. Any form of processed meats, make sure you do read the ingredient labels because they usually contain ingredients in them to help them with shelf life, flavor, and preservation. I also recommend prioritizing seafood such as salmon, sardines, shrimp, which has omega-3 fatty acids. Now, if you're enjoying this video today, then I have a special announcement that might interest you. I have a new private training called How to Lose Fat and Keep It Off Forever. There is an application process involved, so if you are interested, do apply. And if you are accepted, then you will be invited to attend my special training. If you are interested in applying, then make sure you check the description box below for more information. Now, moving on to cardio. If you do want to incorporate cardio, then you can choose between steady state and high intensity interval training. Now, there are different schools of thought on the effectiveness between steady steady state versus HIIT. And there have also been some conflicting studies. But in this study, it does show that even though HIIT is more time efficient, it's been studied that it's not necessarily more effective. Steady state cardio is aerobic, it requires oxygen and is fueled mostly by fat, whereas high intensity interval training is anaerobic. The argument for interval training and HIIT training is that your body will burn fat even when you're not working out due to excess post-oxygen consumption. Steady state cardio is generally defined as anywhere from 50 to 70% of your maximum heart rate, whereas high intensity interval training is 80 to 95% of your maximum heart rate. Now, even though steady state and HIIT has been researched extensively, and even though research shows that one is not necessarily better than the other, from my own experience after having spent thousands of hours at the gym, I can say that steady state has never really done that much for me. I only find steady state to be effective if I am doing very intense resistance training. So therefore, I think it's more the resistance training rather than the steady state. On the contrary, my experience with high intensity interval training is incredibly effective for weight loss. I encourage you to try both and see which one you like best and what works best for you. When it comes to cardio, just pick one that you enjoy and that you can stick to. The next tip is don't fear fat. The reason why people fear fat and saturated fat is because it has been linked to cholesterol. Cholesterol and fat in our diet were blamed for harm in the 50s and 60s because people were dying of heart attacks and strokes. However, cholesterol is vitally necessary for human health and it is made in the liver. I remember when I was younger, I would always eat low-fat peach yogurts, thinking that they were healthy because they were low-fat and they were made out of fruit. And oh boy, was I wrong. This is something that many of the doctors on YouTube in the low carb space talk about. This is also something that Dr. Rob Saiwez, the carb addiction doctor, talked about recently on our channel. So do check out that video already if you haven't before. Next tip is to replace your soy products. So for a long time, soy was recognized as a complete protein source and it is still consumed by a lot of Asian countries today. Even though most of what Asian countries consume is fermented soy, not the soy that we have in North America, like soy burgers and soy isolate. Now, many people think that foods like soy sauce, tofu, soy milk, edamame beans are harmless because they are low calorie and they're therefore good for weight loss. Soy contains phytoestrogens, which are estrogens from plants, and are structurally similar to human estrogen. And increased estrogen is shown to lead to hormonal imbalances. And the consumption of soy does tend to be controversial due to mixed research results. But according to this study, it has been shown that soy consumption does impact thyroid function, especially in postmenopausal women, where soy led to a decrease in T3 and T4 levels, which are your primary thyroid hormones. And according to this study, it was concluded that the consumption of soy isoflavones was linked to hypothyroidism. Next tip is to prioritize thyroid health. So prioritizing thyroid health is crucial for thyroid function. If you don't eat fish or shellfish, then you can consider taking an iodine supplement. Iodine is a trace mineral that is found in seafood. Oysters are a great source of iodine. Dairy is also a good source of iodine, but if you are doing carnivore, I generally recommend staying away from dairy because I have seen that it can lead to people being a little bit too dairy happy. Your thyroid hormones play a big role in regulating your body weight. Next is to decrease insulin resistance by increasing the quality of your food. Now, insulin resistance has a big impact on your metabolic function, but rather than focusing on taking food off of your plate and eating less, it's more about learning how to increase the quality of your food and eat more of the quality stuff. The goal is more nutrition for your body so that you feel better, you sleep better, that you think better, and overall operate better. So instead of eating a muffin in the morning, which is basically just cake that spikes your blood sugar levels in the short term and in the long term, go for bacon and eggs instead. And instead of eating low-fat yogurt that is secretly filled with a bunch of sugar, eat grass-fed whole milk yogurt, or better yet, make your own yogurt at home. Another way to increase the quality of your foods is to replace any seed oils with high-quality cooking oils, such as avocado oil, olive oil. Another option is also grass-fed butter. Now, compared to a low-fat diet, a low-glycemic diet has a more pronounced effect in reducing hunger, minimizing postprandial insulin secretion, and maintaining insulin sensitivity. The last couple of tips I have here are to optimize your hormones, specifically ghrelin, leptin, and insulin. All these three hormones play a big role in your ability to lose weight and keep it off. So ghrelin is your appetite-stimulating hormone, and it rises before you eat and it decreases after you eat. Leptin is an appetite suppressant, and it's secreted from your fat cells to regulate your body weight and tells your body when you're satiated. What we want to avoid is leptin resistance, which is one of the reasons that you may be failing to lose weight. So how we can regulate our hormones, or better yet, boost your leptin levels and decrease your ghrelin levels. Some of the things that we've already talked about, but prioritizing protein because protein is the most satiating macronutrient. Getting good sleep because sleep deprivation leads to an increase in ghrelin levels. In other words, lack of sleep actually makes us feel hungrier. Avoiding highly palatable processed foods because these foods make us crave more artificially. Proper stress management because stress can increase your ghrelin and your cortisol levels. And I would also recommend trying to cut the carbohydrates and consider going on a high-fat, low-carb diet if you can. Going on a high-fat, low-carb diet will decrease your triglycerides, which has been shown to help with leptin sensitivity. I have several videos on the topic of sleep, but fixing your sleep is huge for regulating your metabolism. Not only does lack of quality sleep have an impact on leptin and ghrelin, but lack of sleep is also associated with reduced insulin sensitivity. And when you have poor sleep, it can lead to an increase in cortisol levels, which can contribute to insulin resistance, which makes your body want to hang on to fat. Studies have also been shown that when you lack sleep, even if you are losing weight, your body prefers to burn muscle instead of fat. So quality sleep also allows for the adequate release of growth hormone, which is essential for growth, repair, and your metabolism. And the last tip I have is to make sure you are finding some way to manage your stress. Now, stress isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I do have a video on this topic about it if you want to learn more. In fact, we need a certain amount of stress in life to grow and to achieve and to accomplish. It is the overstress of our bodies that we do not want. That is what we are trying to avoid. So having a healthy and proper stress management system, whatever that means to you, is critical to lowering your cortisol levels and helping you increase your metabolism to burn more fat. If you liked this video today, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know down in the comments below what part of the video you liked the most. Until next time.